Hello and welcome to Editorial Minis, the little brother segment of Anime Editorial. I know I already introduced the segment in the past, but seeing as it's been over a year since the last one, I felt it was in need of a reintroduction. So, I've been doing a rewatch of Kill la Kill, and lo and behold, I don't hate it as much as I used to. I know what you're thinking. Jimmy, what? You made a damn near episode length video about why you hated it. Yes, I know, and I don't really disagree with that video. However, I was a bit of a smug prick when I dismissed some of the good qualities Kill la Kill has. One of said good qualities being its use of scale. Scale is something that's hard to define in terms of anime. It can refer both to animation, character design, and even writing. In this instance, I'm going to discuss how scale in visual design can communicate things to us on a narrative level without having characters say a single word. First, let's turn the clock back to 2007 with the release of Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann, because the scene we're talking about today is a callback to a previous scene in this show. At the end of the opening segment of the first episode, we get this really slick dynamic zoom effect.
Gurren Lagann! Spin on! Who the hell do you think I am?
And what the effect communicates to us is the scale of the scene. Simon and his crew are at the top. They're commanding a huge vessel fighting against even larger enemies. The dynamic zoom is there to show us just how much Simon is in control over, and that directly tells us that the main characters have a massive amount of power. Fast forward 6 years and we have the debut episode of Kill la Kill. Now, Digibro has a pretty fantastic video about Kill la Kill's opening sequence and how it handles build up and release of action, and I recommend you watch that video. Right where the opening sequence leaves off, we have Satsuki at the literal highest point of the school giving her fascist speech, and as soon as she's done, we see the same dynamic zoom effect as in the Gurren Lagann opening. When you play the two scenes side by side, it's very clear to see that the callback was intentional. However, the one in Kill la Kill does something slightly different. At the very bottom, when it seems like the zoom is about to pull out and end the scene, it gets pulled back into focus on Ryuko, as if to say, nah bro, you're not getting out of here without letting me make my appearance. Another interesting part of these two scenes is that while the similarities are obvious, they tell the opposite story. The zoom in Gurren Lagann starts with us looking at Simon, then zooms out to the rest of the ship as if to say he's more or less large and in charge. It zooms from character to object. This is the opposite of what happens in Kill la Kill, where even though we see Satsuki's face in the preceding scene, the actual cut starts from the very top of Honnoji Academy's structure and then zooms out to reveal Ryuko. So in that case, it goes from object to character. The basic idea is saying that the structure holds more power than the character. What this shot communicates is that while Ryuko is at the bottom of the hill in both a figurative and literal sense, she means to climb all the way to the top and face her rivals at Honnoji Academy. And shortly after, almost as if to punctuate the idea that we've been discussing, we see a singular frame cut of how small she is in comparison to the large landscape we just zoomed out of. And it's not until then that we get the title card. So here we have a visual cue for the theme of the series we're about to see with some very simple and skillful perspective techniques. I hope you liked this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, follow, tweet, and whatever else the kids are doing these days. Sayonara minasan, thanks for watching.